to the Filmcast review of One Battle After Another. I'm reading the plot summary of the movie here from IMDb. When their evil enemy resurfaces, a group of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue one of their own. End quote.
That's all. That's it. That's all it is.
That's it. Nothing else happens in this film.
Yeah.
So, One Battle After Another. This is loosely based off of the Thomas Pynchon novel. And obviously, P.T. Anderson, unquestionably one of the greatest filmmakers to have ever lived. Devindra Hardawar, what did you think of this film?
Oh, I think it's an absolute blast. I think this is Paul Thomas Anderson has made a lot of great movies, things that I personally enjoy that, some people didn't always enjoy. I really liked Inherent Vice, and then the ones that are really popular. I don't think he's ever made a movie that is an overall crowd pleaser. Hey, this movie rips. You're going to watch it. You're going to have a lot of fun. Maybe there's some minor quibbles with it, but overall, it's a really fun ride. And that is what this movie delivers. I kind of expected that. I did not expect, the whole pitch of this thing is sort of like an action movie. It is kind of sort of there too. There are some great sequences. There are some great sequences, involving, I don't want to spoil too much, but this is a movie about revolutionaries. It's about people using anarchistic violence to achieve their goals. And I think there were some great sequences around all that stuff. Also, just some kick-ass car chases, just some really cool sequences like that. And I think this is it's crazy to see this movie now because it's something that's very much about our time. It's about a group of anarchists who are releasing people in immigration detention centers. It's about the fight against crazy right-wing conspiracies, but also something that is very much pure white nationalism kind of taken to extreme. This feels like such a relevant movie right now, and it's incredibly well made. My only thing is, I feel like a lot of the important characters from this movie don't really get a lot of time. We don't really get a lot of time with some of the main folks, especially Tiana Taylor, who I think is fantastic and is here in the opening of this movie, and she is a sort of propulsive force moving DiCaprio's character into this world, and she has just so much energy. I was kind of sad that character kind of dropped off. We don't really learn much about her. She's very much painted in broad strokes. So I think this movie is a blast. There's just more. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and I would have sat there for 3 hours plus to give us more depth into this world and more insight into these characters. But for what it is, it sure is a blast, and definitely feels like a movie made for this moment.
Jeff Kanata, your thoughts on One Battle After Another?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say my thoughts on One Battle After Another are best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
Its pace is fast and never ceases. My reverence only increases. What's there to say? Just that PTA seems only to make masterpieces.
Nice.
Nice.
Would you say that about Licorice Pizza, Jeff? Did you see that?
So, hey,
yeah.
One
did
misstep,
you like that,
perhaps.
Yeah.
One. But also, I think Licorice Pizza is a fascinating movie.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
Yeah. That said, I think this is my favorite working director. Period.
Wow.
Sorry, Dan.
Damn.
Damn, son.
All right, second favorite working director. Though, if P.T. Anderson ever wants to play board games with me, maybe it'll change.
Who would, just so we know, who would be your? Sorry, Jeff, I don't want to derail, but I'm curious. What are Devindra's favorite working director? I think mine.
I've said mine. Yeah.
Who is yours, Devindra?
Park Chan-wook and Aronofsky. Yeah, those are my top tiers right now.
I wouldn't have guessed Aronofsky. That's cool.
I'm gonna say probably Scorsese. That's
really?
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
probably
shocked.
Scorsese. Yeah,
huh.
But
I mean, of overall career, sure. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Nolan is up there too.
Yeah.
No, for sure, Nolan is definitely up there. But yeah, Scorsese.
I think Paul Thomas Anderson is, to me, the most exciting, most dynamic. Just the home runs are grand slams. And I think this is a grand slam. This is my favorite movie of the year so far, and I will be shocked if anything can dethrone it.
Yep.
It is a spectacular, fun, thrilling, wild thing. Devindra mentioned the length, and At my screening, I went to a press screening, I guess, but I don't know who was there because it seemed like a bunch of relatively uninformed people. Because at the beginning, somebody came out and said, "Hey, just want everybody to turn their cell phones off." And just so you know, this movie is 2 hours and 40 whatever minutes. And there was a groan that went through the crowd, which was very funny to me.
I love when the crowd is aligned. Yeah.
I guarantee you, no one breathed in that 2 hours and 40 minutes. This is a 2 hour and 40 minute movie that feels like a
90-minute
thrill ride.
Absolutely.
It rips.
The first 20 minutes of this movie are 6 seasons of a prestige TV show done in 20 minutes. It is unreal the amount of information that is conveyed in this elegant, efficient, fast-paced, killer way. I mean, literally, it could be a full multiple season TV show of all the stuff that's just preamble in this movie. That's just set up for where the movie actually wants to get. And then when it actually gets to where it wants to get, it's still moving at a breakneck pace that is, hold on to the armrests of your chair in your theater. It is so much fun and such a rip-roaring good time and funny, so very funny. I mean, I know this movie has been described as an action comedy, which I think is a misnomer, but it is very funny. I was cackling numerous times, and the movie takes broad, like comedic scenes where we're just like wacky dialogue between characters. I mean, it really is. It gets broad, but it gets deathly serious. And every place in between. Sean Penn is incredible in this movie. Like, I don't know if he got physically grotesque on purpose, but like his biceps I found off-putting. I don't know if he was just like, that's just how I work out, or if he did that for this.
They comment on his tight shirts.
It is protruding veins.
I would believe that he did that to himself for this movie. Also, he like comes up with a walk for his character that is so great. It's so like, how many actors would do that?
Right.
It's like he has a rod shoved way up his ass the entire movie.
Yes.
And it's perfect.
Like physically, you mean? Like not just
physically,
metaphorically, like physically, like
yes. I mean, both.
Yeah.
But, and the movie is, I think, remarkably taking shots at both sides, which is why I compared it to Eddington. I think it is not a diatribe against one side or the other. I think it is really, satirizing a lot of extremism on both sides. But there's some cheer moments in this movie. There's thrilling, exciting action, as Devindra pointed out. It really is like, what more can you want out of a movie? And DiCaprio, maybe it's redundant at this point because the guy just has his pick of the best people to work with and the best projects to work on. So it's almost unfair to talk about him being great in a great movie, because that's just kind of, he has a cottage industry of being great in great movies, but he's great. And I don't know of many other real sort of playboy, in their personal life, sort of, hunk mythology kind of dudes, like the mystique of a Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
That also is consistently willing to look so bad in movies.
Yes.
He's always willing to make himself look terrible and be unattractive, both physically and
buffoonish.
Buffoonish. That's the word.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think that's not to be understated, right? Somebody with his level of clout and sort of lifestyle to be willing to undermine that on the big screen consistently. I think that's a big deal, and it works for this movie. It's needed. And I don't know if you cast a Brad Pitt in that role, I don't think he will do that. He would be willing to go there.
Jason Statham, The Rock, they would never allow themselves.
No, I don't think.
Well, that's why
in this movie. But a Brad Pitt might get cast in this movie.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise might get cast in this, and they would never allow themselves to sort of be this schlubby and dumb.
That's why the casting of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is so perfect, right? Because DiCaprio is kind of the guy who can kind of better play the fact that he's a fading star, where Pitt just gets to be Pitt. He gets to be the alpha dog here. But yeah, I'm thinking of like Killers of the Flower Moon too, where DiCaprio just spends the entire movie being like a loser schmuck. It's
again, it's you don't need to give this guy more plaudits. He's fine, but that's not a small thing. And man, I love this movie so very much. It is incredible.
Yeah,
I think the person worth really praising here, by the way, is Benicio del Toro, who comes into this movie and is just like so effortless. I think that's what I really love about this character. He's a character who's like seen shit and been like, it's gonna be cool, we're gonna figure this out, and like nothing really phases him. Love his mood, love his vibe. He is incredible here.
Thank you for bringing him up, because I had a surreal experience watching his character, because I know that guy real well. My son's Taekwondo teacher has become a friend, a close personal friend of mine and our families. I hang out with him socially, and dude, Benicio del Toro is playing him in this movie. It is uncanny. Like everything, the haircut, the vibe. I mean, he's not Latino. He's a half Korean guy, but like, and that's obviously a very big part of the Benicio del Toro character. But like the vibe is the same. The mannerisms, everything is him. I was like, weird that I was watching this person that I know being played by one of our great actors. That was a wild experience for me.
I've had like several like high level martial arts instructors in my life when I was younger, and similar vibes. Like somebody who commits themselves to that life, you think a little differently, you see the world differently, and he captures that perfectly.
Agreed.
Other than the comparison to Eddington, I actually agree 100% with everything Jeff Kanata said about this. I mean, the movie is such an amazing time. It's so well made. There's multiple set pieces that are just incredible. On their own would be like the centerpiece of any other film, but there's like 5 of them in this film. And if I'm to sum up what my initial take on what the film is about, it would be that it's about the humanity of those involved on both sides of the revolution. Like, I think it's kind of, there's a revolution. There's people on one side that are the oppressors. There's one side on the other that are trying to, that are fighting for freedom. But they're both human, and they both have flaws and weaknesses and needs. And I think that's, my initial interpretation, having just seen this movie a week ago, that's what this movie is trying to explore. And I think it does so extremely effectively. So I had a great time with this. It's really hard to talk about it without getting into spoilers, but for now, I'll just say I agree with everything you guys have said. Sean Penn's amazing. This is the best work of his entire career. By the way,
he was Dead Man Walking.
He's done a lot. Yeah.
Okay. But like,
come on, Mystic River.
Yeah, that movie too.
I've seen those movies, and I think this is my favorite work of his out of all those, because in many ways he is the most compelling character of the movie. In my opinion, because that character explains a lot of what is wrong with America right now.
For sure.
And I think that just he plays it in a way that is both reprehensible and yet also, you don't root for that character, but you understand that character. And
I guess
he's a really tragic figure in the movie, I think.
And so much of what he's doing in this movie isn't on the page. It's so, he brings so much to it. Obviously, I'm sure he worked in collaboration with his director and who knows who else. But like the mannerisms, that like weird like grunt that he adds at the end of sentences, like it is, it's an incredible transformative performance. He doesn't look like Sean Penn, except for the fact that he looks like Sean Penn. It's like he is really being this character in a really interesting way. I agree.
Yeah. Anyway, brilliant movie. Definitely is my number 1 film of the year so far. It's the movie to beat. Has taken over Sinners and Weapons. And Sinners, by the way, some similar themes as well, by the way, in this one and Sinners. But anyway, one battle after another. It's a great movie. I also just want to say that I saw Mark Harris talking about this on Blue Sky, and I really agree with him that like this is the reason why the movie studio system still exists. Like for movies like this, you know, to make $120 million epic, kind of like Western epic, that's probably not going to make that much money. But that nonetheless,
pretty well opening weekend. It did all right, 20-something million.
But like it's
the biggest biggest Paul Thomas Anderson opening ever.
That's good, but it has a long road ahead to profitability. But it's like this, you can only achieve this with the current system. Like the old system is dying, right? The old system of movie studios is dying because of the YouTubes and the TikToks and so on, and media consolidation and so on. But it's like the movie studio system exists so that movies like this can be made, can be released, and can help to change the culture. And I think that is something that is notable. So
totally hear that. Yeah.
Even as a studio system is like in a fairly significant decline right now, and there's talks that Netflix or Skydance might buy up Warner Brothers, right? Like this studio might not exist in 5 years, but they're at this brief moment they're still able to release movies like this. I'm very grateful for it. Okay, folks, let's do some spoilers for One Battle After Another starting right now. One thing we actually didn't talk about during the main review, Johnny Greenwood's score. It reminded me a lot of our conversation about highest to lowest, in the sense that the score in that movie was also nonstop, but the score in this movie also nonstop, but in a way that actually helps with what the movie is trying to do. And
I want to reference your work in this to something I hated. Just to say how much better yours is than this.
That's right. I mean, because it's like when I was watching it, I was like, this reminds me of Highest to Lowest when the score wouldn't stop. Except I actually like it this time.
It's actually helping the movie.
Because there is this frenetic nature to the score that's like, like there's urgency, like must keep going. It really does feel like one battle after another. And I think the score does a great job of landing that idea. But I mean, there's so many things to talk about in this movie, and I don't know we're not going to get through it all, but I think let's just mention a few things. Okay. So I'll say, the first segment of the film, the movie's kind of roughly divided into like 3 segments. But the first segment of the movie is just propulsive and nonstop. They open with like pulling off this heist, followed by this torrid romance that Leonardo DiCaprio and Tiana Taylor's character have. And
explosive, one might say.
You need that character. You need to believe that character can basically cause entire cities to fall. Tiana Taylor's character.
And she is great.
She's amazing.
My wife calls her Helen of Troy of America, basically. Like you need to believe that Sean Penn is willing to burn this whole fucking thing to the ground to pursue Tiana Taylor's character. And that Leonardo DiCaprio also has feelings for her.
Well, and you also need to believe that she would abandon her daughter, which is I think a powerful, difficult notion to sell. And I certainly was on board with her having this sort of higher calling to her own mind,
combined with what appears to be postpartum, right?
It's a very common feeling to feel like you're being replaced by your own child.
So
and
I had no issue with that, Jeff. I think the thing that, and I think Devindra, probably you also feel the same way, is like, I wish we'd gotten a little more insight into why she was willing to become a rat.
I would love so much more about her in general, like not just becoming a rat, because she says one line, it's like, whatever, I will take care of myself. I am the most important thing. So like there is that selfishness inherent in her too. But the moment where she agrees to have sex with Lockjaw, I was like, I could see many other ways this is going, and she instead chooses to go through with the encounter, which begets a child. That I feel like we really needed that setup, right? Because I was so on board with her.
Like, what was her mindset at that time?
What was her mindset? Why would she allow that? Like, there are so many.
I think it's
have to actually go through it. It's power, and she knows, like, to a certain extent, she has power over him,
power,
and maybe
yes, 100%.
maybe that's the whole thing.
She
but
gets
also
to dominate him in sexually as well as every other way, right?
But I will say this, like, I find the Sean Penn character certainly fascinating, but like, I almost feel like we spend too much time with him because we get it, man. Like this we get the hateful mindset and the conflict that he has. And I would have loved more time with somebody like Perfidia. I would have loved more time even with the daughter, who basically is a princess who has to be captured towards the end, who gets a couple moments to be herself. But I think really laying out the belief structure and sort of like I don't think this movie is really equating both sides. Like, I don't think it's about finding humanity on both sides. This movie specifically is about ridiculing the shitty, hateful, white nationalists. Like, they create a whole organization for them. That's not the Ku Klux Klan. It's a Christmas club or whatever. Hail Santa. Like, it's all,
let's just be clear.
Yeah.
It's the Christmas Adventurers Club and it's Hail Saint Nick. I just want to make that
Hail Saint Nick. Yes.
But
sure.
But
you seem to memorize that pretty quickly, Dave.
Yeah, do not disparage
membership application.
Yeah, do not. Please, I have my application. I'm sure they're going to look over my considerable shortcomings.
You definitely memorized all the required materials, it seems. But I think like it is specifically making fun of them, and there is a revolutionary spirit to this movie. And I think what's interesting towards the end is like Perfidia admitting in a letter, would have loved to actually see her on screen again, but kind of saying like, we have failed, but maybe you will succeed. For me, the overarching message of this movie is sort of the way revolutions, kind of real revolutions, not like white nationalist takeovers, but the revolution against the power structures is a thing that kind of is passed down over down bloodlines, essentially.
Yeah,
it's something you notice in real life too. Like just a simple thing. I have not taken, I'm not going to say this legally, I have not taken part in any destructive acts, but I have taken my children to protests. We went to the protest in support of immigrants in America, and my daughter now has this belief. She's heard Donald Trump say things on the news. We really try not to expose her to much of the news, but she's heard news about like, oh, he's invading cities. He wants to take over cities. And she said to me, it's like, if Donald Trump comes to my city, I will protest and I will say, go home. And that's kind of it. And it's that spirit is what really gets me in this movie. So I kind of say, I think we spent too much time with Lockjaw. As good as Sean Penn is, I would have loved more time with Perfidia. I would have loved more time kind of like rounding up. How does the French 75 work? How is this thing built? There's a lot of shorthand in this movie, which I think is impressive, but also there's a lot of time where we give to try to make us feel the humanity for people where I'm like, I don't know. I
mean, in many ways, we get more of an understanding of how the Christmas Adventurers Club works than the French 75.
Yes.
I think that where I will agree with Jeff is that the movie has this kind of gonzo, zany, over-the-top tone to it that does end up, you do spend a lot of time laughing at Leonardo DiCaprio's character,
sure,
and the whole organization,
and the whole organization in some ways. But where I agree with Devindra is that unlike Eddington, to kind of, I don't know if this makes any sense what I'm about to say, but I think the arc of this movie bends towards justice, and you see that like it's very clear in this movie that the Sean Penn represents the bad guys, and Benicio del Toro with his underground, his migrant underground railroad situation, and the movie has. That they're the good guys and they're the people we should be rooting for. The movie has this incredible economy to it that I just think is remarkable. And I'll just give a couple of examples. Like the whole middle sequence with Benicio del Toro and getting all the migrants out of his house, I think sums up a lot of what is brilliant about this film. So just a couple of things I'd point out real quick. You know that the reason Sean Penn is trying to like get these immigrants out is because they have been depicted or they have been stated like, oh, these people are bringing drugs and horrors to our streets, right? Like that's something that has been stated out loud.
What's the line? We got to get the lunatics out.
Yeah, the lunatics out, like all this stuff. Yeah. And then the movie takes great pains to show you multiple times where you see these migrants and they're just like regular people. People are walking past cages. There's kids playing with the little Mylar blankets, on the side. Benicio del Toro's giving Leonardo DiCaprio's character a tour of his house. There's people like, hey, they just had a little baby. Like there's a family people. They're just they're just normal people, family people, just trying to like live their lives unharassed. And so I think the movie clearly has a point of view on that. The other thing is, I love the scene when Sean Penn's like, hey, it's time to like bring the hammer down on these people, and he calls an outside agitator, which by the way is like the closest thing to very minor spoilers for Eddington, but like there is a very closely related plotline in Eddington to what happens in this film, where like this minivan like rolls up, the door opens, you see a military guy in the minivan for like a second, then a guy comes out with a Molotov cocktail and starts throwing it at the armed forces, and all hell breaks loose. And it's like, this movie has a very specific, and from what I can tell, accurate perspective on how these kinds of repressive actions can begin, is like with what's the equivalent of like a false flag, right? Where they are the ones responsible for the violence kicking off, and so and all that stuff just happens in like seconds. It's not like the movie doesn't stop and take time to say, "Hey, make sure you notice this thing." It's moving so quickly that you need to be locked in, or else you're going to miss it. So I really appreciate the economy of like how it tells just like all this detail without pausing for a second. Anyway.
I think
go. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
One of the big similarities to Eddington for me is how both of these movies basically take as literal truth things that are believed by one side about the other. These sort of wild over exaggerations of conspiracy ideas and notions of what the one side thinks about the other in both movies is sort of depicted as literally true. And, so I think that's one of the big reasons why it evoked that movie for me, is like, you in the first 20 minutes of this movie, we're seeing a level of violence from a revolutionary side that is exactly what Fox News will have you believe is the norm, is an active operation all across America right now. And I also believe the sort of the Christmas thing is what the left thinks is always going on beneath the in the tunnels beneath a normal looking mansion all the time. So it's like it both of the movies kind of do that same thing. And I think the endings are very similar of these movies. We just are inside Joaquin Phoenix's POV more than we're inside Sean Penn's POV. But I don't think that the delta between those two movies is as vast as you guys do. We don't need to litigate that point, but I do think this is a superior movie for me. But I also know we have our own proclivities and sympathies to the ideologies depicted, and I think that's perfectly fair and fine. But I do think, Devindra, you are ignoring how much this movie makes fun of the radicals. I mean, it is.
I'm not saying I'm ignoring that. Yeah.
I mean, I think constantly they are shown to be pedantic, getting in their own way by sticking to rules, not really understanding the truth of the situation. It's. I think there's a lot of undermining.
It's very different though. That's like a structural difference of how an organization is run. Because people make fun of that all the time. Andor made fun of the fact that leftist organizations have a very hard time of like aligning goals and getting everybody to operate together, right? Of like working together. And what is scary and what this movie does show is how clean and how like efficient the other side is, and how it's powered by money. They have office space. They have all the structures to do it. I would say one other criticism I'd have of this is that the Christmas Club?
The Christmas Adventurers Club.
The Christmas Adventurers Club.
Or Christmas Adventure Society, one of those.
Is honestly unnecessary. Like you did not even need to go to make it that level of silly. I think back to Spike Lee's Black Klansman, which did a good job of actually showing, yes, these frickin' KKK members are also ridiculous and silly, and maybe there's a little heart to some of them too, but also told you who they were. I was also thinking back to like Watchmen and how the power of that like showed like that is the actual thing that exists here. This movie kind of it gets to escape reality a little by not even mentioning that stuff. I think the reality of it is honestly just as silly. You didn't have to make up a whole new name for it. So yeah, it's doing a lot of things. It's doing a lot of things. I think that's all really cool. And I'm also not going to deny like it shows leftist violence at the beginning because that was the thing happening at the time. The 70s and the 60s, there was a lot of actual like revolutionary violence, and it didn't really lead anywhere. And the ultimate message of this movie is like, oh, we kind of failed, didn't we? Maybe you can do better. Yeah.
I mean, I would argue that the entire like jungle pussy monologue that is interrupted in the movie is meant to be ridiculous. I think there's a number of things like that. We don't need to litigate this point.
Oh, sure. You listen to protests from back then. There are a lot of recordings. Like it's very similar. It's not even heightened.
I kind of fall more on Devindra's side on this. Like, yes, you're right. We have our own sympathies, but in my opinion, the way in which the Christmas Adventurers Club is rendered is, from my perspective, far more ridiculous than the French 75. That's my perspective, though. But
my biggest problem with the Christmas Adventurers Club is the dude says it should be clean. We should be able to eat off of it.
Yeah.
It's so clean.
Yeah.
You know what's not clean?
Not clean.
Shooting a dude and having him run off the road. That's not clean.
Making sure
Nothing
he's
clean
dead.
about that.
Not doing the double tap. Like that's not clean at all.
Oh yeah, not even finishing him off.
Yeah.
Not even like actually killing him.
Doesn't
Just
finish
turn
him off. Leaves it there. You don't think that somebody's going to find a colonel of the army and ask some freaking questions? There's nothing clean about that.
Maybe he was going to go back and take care of it later. That's kind of the best,
that doesn't
the best we can hope for. I did think it was very bold to be introducing like an assassin character 1 hour before the end of the film. I was like, wow, like that is confident storytelling. That is like, hey, I know we're almost 2 hours into this thing, but guess what? There's something else major that's going to come along. So
I read an article about that final car chase with the rolling hills, which is just so, I mean, it goes down in the annals of cinema history as one of the great cinematic car sequences ever.
Really
in
great
my
use
opinion.
of long lenses too, because of the perspective you get of how like you just cannot see anything below. Man,
incredible. So I read an interview with Paul Thomas Anderson about it, and they had no idea how they were going to end that, they were going to do that sequence. They literally knew they were in the desert, knew there was going to be some resolution in the desert, and they just scouted locations for years.
Wow.
Years, and then found this location that had the hills. And when they saw that, we're like, yes, we can work with this. We can get it. And then they talk about her literally taking the high ground, which is pretty brilliant. But how that all works out is the idea that they would like be involved in making this movie without knowing how that was all going to, and then they come to this crescendo of an ending that feels so perfect. It's like, wow, that's amazing.
Sometimes serendipity is part of the filmmaking process.
I would argue most of the time, serendipity.
Absolutely. I believe the location was a couple hours outside of the Arizona border, if I recall correctly.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, brilliant ending, and unlike anything else we've seen in terms of how a car chase scene can be filmed. Like they use the geography. Usually, a lot of car chase sequences have shitty geography. This is a thing where it's like, we're actually using the physical makeup of the land to assist in the plot of the movie.
Yeah, go back to like Bullet for that.
Yes,
like using the hills of San Francisco. But also that's why I love chases in like tight European cities. It's a very specific fetish of mine, but you kind of do it well. They even did some of that in this movie, like the early chase, like when they're getting away from the bank robbery. Chases in tight spaces. Use that geography. Makes it look so much better. Yeah.
I loved how much time he spent just showing the hills.
Yes.
It just
he's like, this is gonna be important. Like, like pay attention. This is gonna be important. And and then it is.
Yeah.
I really loved all that stuff with Lockjaw at the end though, because
the makeup is amazing. It's so good.
Oh, right. Well, I was talking about before then when he finally encounters Willa. And that extended sequence, and he has the paternity testing device right there, and
incredible.
And I think he's such a compelling figure in this movie because this is what it is. This is the face of the enemy, right? Is that it's this guy who has like this insatiable need for approval, respect,
brotherhood,
and I'm sorry, what was that?
brotherhood. I think
brotherhood.
So much of it is about sort of, you know, the
male loneliness crisis.
That's right, man. It's not
Why
untrue.
is he lonely?
Yeah. And he, but he also has these feelings for this woman that are diametrically opposed to all the other stuff that he's feeling. And
it's a struggle.
And it's to
easy
the point
to
where
transpose that to, you know, the fact that most often it's the people who are in politics who are the most vociferous about being sort of anti-LGBTQ who end up having these kinds of trysts that come out in the media. Like it is this internal
repression.
conflict
Repression.
that causes that level of animosity, and it's self-loathing that is externalized.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The right-wing pedophile brigade, just every day you catch a new one. So
and he like not only does he have these desires warring within him, but he is literally willing to sacrifice his child.
Oh, absolutely.
In service of it, which is just such an upsetting idea. The way he kind of discards her with the bounty hunter is, he's like, hey, I need you to kill this girl. Like, you know,
Love the bounty hunter
chilling
too, by the way.
Also straight out of Eddington, by the way, but okay, go ahead, keep going. The Native American
getting a lot of
does the right thing at the end, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, getting a lot of Eddington vibes from this movie. The girl, by the way, the daughter, Chase Infinity, is fantastic here too, because I think she plays it like you can see the struggle, especially when she is like tied up in the church and had that whole scene is going through. You look at that character, and you also think like she's never going to tell Leonardo DiCaprio's character this.
No,
he's never going to know.
That's a gift
because she has a dad. You know, she doesn't need this guy, but she does such a great job of showing that struggle. Also, her whole her escape sequence is incredible too. But
I didn't make that connection.
I don't know what that dude's
Jeff,
plan was.
that was a good pull from
It's a good pull.
Okay, I have to say.
It's a good pull.
That was a
but
good
he
pull
was a cop in Eddington, and this one he's a guy who's like doing dirty work, but immediately he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I love the go back. I love the I can't do this.
Yeah, but like,
I can't live
what was
with
his
myself,
plan though? Like, did you think that was going to go well?
Yeah,
you know?
like I agree.
It's not going to go well.
He could have thought that through. He could have been a little more strategic about that one. But Jeff, he's walking into almost certain death because
I know, but that's what I didn't. I feel like that dude was gonna do. I would have liked him to do that in a little bit of a smarter way. That's all I'm saying. Like,
he's acting based on emotion. Like before he was ruled by his his pocketbook, like he wanted that job, and you're not always going to act rationally in those situations. And that's a lot of this movie. People just do silly things all the time. So,
but that's I think what's great about the film is that you feel like you're scratching the surface of this whole other character, this whole other world. Like that guy has a whole history. Why doesn't he kill kids? Like there's a reason for it. And then seeing this kid in danger activated something within him. What is Benicio? What is Sensei Sergio's whole deal? Like why does he do what he does? You know, we only get a glimpse of it, but the revolution is going on at all times around us in ways that we don't know and can't perceive. Basically,
when he drops the keys off to the guy at that cabin too, he says like some slur to him too, and he just takes it and walks away. So there's a breaking point. There's a breaking point. Like, you know what?
I just
you know what?
Yeah. I just break in a way that is maybe a little more has self-preservation more at the heart of it, pal.
When Jeff flies into a murderous rage, it's going to be tactically.
That's right. Tactical.
That's what we've all learned today.
Also, you know, spoilers for Eddington, but also Eddington ends with the militant right-wing dude being disfigured horribly, getting everything he wanted, but being disfigured horribly. Not dissimilar movies is what I'm saying. Not dissimilar. I
don't think, he certainly didn't get everything he wanted here. Although Sean Penn, when he heard the news, this whole oh mama, I love this reaction. Like somebody raised in like the 50s, right? Who is just like, I don't know, or just like somebody who feels like out of step with this whole generation. The way he talks with those folks is so wild.
The shot of him walking with his face covered in blood directly at the camera.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, I know there was no part of me that saw that coming. And it was one of those moments in a movie, like everyone in the theater reacted to it. Every single person was just, gasping that he was still alive and going, there will be blood style. I'm going to walk back. I will walk home from here with a massive head wound, and I will, incredible.
I was just really curious what that bounty hunter's plan was to find Willa.
Yeah,
like he kills Sean Penn. He's supposed to kill Willa as well. Willa's not even there, so it's like the whole plan was very stupid. Okay,
yes, I mean, not clean. Not clean. You can eat off of it.
Not clean.
A, not clean. B, like at the very least, you need to stop the vehicle and like interrogate, figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Very odd. Very odd.
This guy, it feels like of all the people in the world who could murder Sean Penn, he could walk right up to him easily and be as. He doesn't need to dupe him into some sort of car moment.
Right.
That is very messy.
Hey, I'm from the Christmas Adventurers Club.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hey,
let's
pal.
go into the middle of nowhere.
Drink this. We're having fun. It could be clean. Is what I'm saying.
Drink the initiation drink. It's fine. Very odd. Very, very odd. Let me put it this way: when he says, "I want it so clean that you can eat off it," that really set me up for expectations.
Yes,
that we did not get.
I wanted some freaking Mission Impossible shit at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, any other thoughts? What a picture! Love the movie. Love the movie. Yeah. Glad we all enjoyed it. Glad we could all celebrate it together. But it's a brilliant film, and I think one that gives people a lot to chew on and we'll be talking about for a very long time. So, but yeah, at the end of all that, it is incredibly impressive that Paul Thomas Anderson made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.